raw. You get what you get. And so sometimes you get a little tech issues. Sometimes you get brain and tongue disconnected. Things don't come out the way you want them to. And it's all good because we're just human, right?
That's
We
right.
are. And I am so excited, though, to welcome you all today to our latest collaboration conversation show. This doing this show has been such a joy for the last 3, 4 years now, because I get to meet so many amazing people and see what a difference they're making in the world. And today is no different. I have an awesome guest co-host with me today, and um, sorry, technology is interfering with me. Keeps sending a little pop-up screen. But my guest co-host today is Curtis Kelley, and Curtis is the head of Culture Marauders. I love that title. And I am so excited for all of you to learn more about what that is and what he's doing. So, Curtis, first of all, welcome. Thank you for being our guest co-host today.
All right. Thank you, Regina. And what's up, CEO Holy Grail family? Again, Curtis Kelley, representing the Culture Marauders. Yeah, so a little bit about us. We deal with people, right? And more specifically, whether it be podcast production, also DJ and entertainment, and then also organizational culture consulting. So I brought with me today, I left out the most important part. I am a military veteran, retired combat veteran.
Awesome.
I am also a person with a non-apparent disability. I'm an African-American male with short black dreads that are kind of getting there. So, yeah, and then my pronouns are he and him. So with
Awesome.
that being said, yes, I've
Yeah,
also brought some more military friends and family along with me for this ride, for this episode. And
excellent.
so, yeah,
And
so
Curtis, we're going to introduce them in a minute, but
got you.
first, I really want people to learn more about you.
Okay.
So would you tell us, and may I also say thank you for your service, and to
Thank
anyone
you.
else who's in this room who served, thank you so much for your service. It means the world to me. It truly does.
Thank you.
Um, would you share, though, with us, Curtis, a bit about your journey? What's brought you to this place, who you serve, and why that's important to you?
Yeah, so when I retired from the Air Force in 2019, it's hard to believe it was like 6 years ago. I missed what I missed the most out of it was just the people. The work is the work; it's always going to be there. But I miss the people that I did it with, and a lot of folks who serve, they could probably echo that same sentiment. So getting outside of it and transitioning into the corporate world, I still had a lot of things to say, and still do. But it was just finding that platform. So I had a friend who started a podcast, and I was like, man, this is really cool. Let me try it. So I started the Culture Marauders podcast. Ran for a couple seasons. I jump back in it here and there every now and again. I haven't done it in a little while, but I found that there's a connection about learning about people, right? Just all facets of culture, people, and meeting them where they are and having a better understanding of how we move together throughout this world. And so I took that, and that just kept me connected to folks. And lo and behold, later on, a few years into my civilian career, I had an opportunity to transition over into the DEI field. I know that's a taboo word, but it is what it is. It's still on my shirt. So, um, so yeah, that doesn't change, right? It doesn't change how we move together and how we learn. And so, who I serve are people, and it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your background is, what you believe in. I'm here to serve you and help you understand how do we work together? How do from leadership, from building culture, how to retain, recruit, all of those things, even veteran focused. So I have my hands in a lot of different pots, from the HR, DEI world. And again, I bring in music, podcast production, all those things that are all people focused.
You are a man of many talents.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And I am excited to learn more as we go through this show today. Curtis, would you please introduce each of our panelists, tell us a little bit about them, but then have them share their story, how they got to where they are and who they serve and why that's important.
All right. So I'm going to go ladies first, right? So I'm going to
Well
introduce
played.
Thank you. I'm going to introduce Karina Kelley. And if you notice that we do have the same last name, that is not by accident. This is intentional. I was deliberate in seeking this woman out and making her my wife. So I'm going to
I
introduce
love
you
it.
to Karina Kelley. So go ahead.
And I'm in the other room. Hi. I'm Karina Kelley, a public health professional, and and live here in Tampa, Florida. And I've so just tell me a little bit about myself. Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah,
Just
a
where
little
I'm
bit about your
from, or
journey, a little bit about
yeah.
your journey, who you serve and why it's important to you.
Yeah, definitely. So I am definitely representing all of my public health professionals out there. It has been a rough going for us. And so I'd say public health chose me. And so what public health is, it's my second mission. I also served in the military. I say public health chose me because it literally did. The military assigned public health to me when I was active duty. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I thought I was going to be working in the DFAC. They said you will be working with food. I said, "What?" I said, "I don't want to do this." And I almost traded somebody for security forces, and because she was crying, and I said, "I'll be the cop. I'll do it." And it was too late. And so I learned a lot about what public health was, which really is that we serve people and we serve the community, so a population, communities, and we try to make them well, right? So ensuring that the population is healthy and well, and they have the resources and accessibility to those resources. So once I learned that and learned that, it was part of something bigger than myself, just like I was serving in the military, I fell in love. And from day one all the way to now, 20 years later, I have served in public health and pursuing other opportunities as executive coaching through Georgetown, just to continue on and supporting the public health field, who is currently right now just facing a lot of challenges and
Hmm.
changes. And so I founded Creed Consulting, and it started off initially just consulting. I'm a strategy consultant, so I'm a problem solver by nature, data driven, and like to help organizations solve their problems. So working with community organizations who are looking to strategize how can they best serve those communities, meet those healthcare needs. They
Right.
focus on health equity, and inclusion. And so how can we best serve the diverse population that we have in front of us? And so, I started off just doing some of that, and now it's turned into a movement. And now, what I'm helping them do is reimagine how we approach community health,
Mm,
and co creating solutions with partners that we don't normally partner with. So I am looking to, partner with workplaces and organizations, because where we live, where we work, where we, play in the community and involve ourselves, all impact our health. To be
mhm.
quite honest, every single one of us in this room right now are public health. From the moment you put your seatbelt on, it's public health right there. It's
Uh,
prevention. You brushing
yeah.
your teeth in the morning, going to your doctor's appointment, prevention, public health. So we are all in this together. And so it's kind of supporting one another and really raising that awareness. And since, like I said, we're going through some of those changes and losing some of our funding, is really
Mm,
important to, partner and grow together to, really kind of push some of that outreach. So that's what my goal is, moving forward, is to kind of create and stir that movement and support this leadership.
I love it. Excellent. Thank you. And welcome, Karina.
Thank you.
Regina, we're just getting started. I'm gonna move
I
on. If
know.
that wowed you, hold on, hang tight. All right, I'm gonna move it on down the line on my journey. So I'm gonna introduce you to David Satchel. He was one of my last leaders I had in the military prior to retirement. Good man, super sharp. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Dave Satchel, aka Satch.
Hey, thank you, Curtis. I appreciate that. And thank you, Regina, for having me. My name is David Satchel. They call me Satch. My mama calls me Satch. And so if my friends, they call me Satch, I know that they know me when they call me by my nickname. Right?
Yeah.
But I started 30 years ago from Omaha, Nebraska, joined the Air Force by chance. And somehow 30 years later, I was spit out and did some other things. But I was a command post controller in the Air Force, meaning I worked for the most senior leader on the base, providing them the information they needed to make the best
Hmm.
decisions. And but throughout my career, I was serving other people, and I happened to be working with Curtis, and I served airmen. And so I began to learn the knack of serving people and how to support them at the best level and to get them to achieve their best self which became a passion project for me. After I retired, I went to Amazon because they offered me a lot of money. And I learned very shortly that that was not the place to be. And it just did not connect with my values. And so I started a company called Core Leadership. That's my own company where I do executive coaching. I do I do training and development in both the military and corporate and public spaces. And after a few years, I gained some interns out of William James College, and now they provide me the science of leadership. And so I've really been focusing on what does it mean to lead at the human domain. And
Mm,
so, what are the human tendencies that are causing your team to break down? And so that's been really fun to explore. And so I'm really having a lot of fun with that. Along the way, I started writing books, and that's been really fun. But it's all been in the act of serving other people and helping other people become their best selves. And so that's been really exciting. I'm retired here in Tampa, Florida, and I try to play golf as much as I possibly can. And and so that's basically Satch in a nutshell. And I'm excited that I'm here with you all, and maybe I could share my perspective and how it relates to collaboration. Thank you.
excellent.
Mhm.
Excellent. Thank
All
you,
right. Thank you,
Satch.
Satch. So we're gonna bring it on home with Will Simmons, one of my later friends in life that I met after retirement. He was at at Tech Dad at the time. We met at our first role together, at least my first one coming out of the military. He's been a solid friend and a good ally and a mentor as well. So Will Simmons, you up?
Will Simmons, aka Mumbles. I was in the Marine Corps for 20 years. I was an aviator, flew in the backseat of F-18s. So unlike Maverick and Goose and Iceman, I got the call sign of Mumbles or Mumbalaya if you're spicy. I don't know your spice level, but if you're spicy, Mumbalaya is what you probably would call me. Right. So after spending 20 years in the Marine Corps and flying, and the Marine Corps offered me a cushy job in DC, going on the belt loop and sitting in the office and doing PowerPoints. I was like, I'm gonna retire, stay here in Tampa, Florida, work on my tan, and continue to serve in a different way. Um, I perchance got hired at Tech Data because the guy said, "Hey, do you have an engineering degree?" I said, "Technically, yes, but actually, no." So I'm not an engineer. But he's like, "Ah, it doesn't matter as long as you have a degree." And I was like, "Okay, let's go." So I joined the civilian workforce there. Later became a consultant in the IT field, IT space. But really, what brought me here and what I'm passionate about is I want to serve people who are going through adversity.
Mm,
Mm,
So that should be all of us, right?
yeah,
Um,
I love that.
I have a podcast called The Event, Finding Opportunities in Adversity, which is a part of my book that I'm writing. So, Sash, we should get together. Let's talk about this.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
It'll be out this year. It's in edit stage right now. But the event for me, as I broke my back, I got
mm,
cancer, a terminal cancer, apparently, allegedly. Um, and from that point on, I lived my life more intentionally, learned to serve others. And I figured out that after that point, my life got exponentially better.
Uh,
And so people are like, wait, you broke your back, got cancer, your life got better? It sure did.
mm,
And what I'm trying to do now is serve people in the fact that, hey, let's change our perspective on life. What's happening for me instead of what's happening to me.
mhm, mhm,
Everything has two sides to a coin, right? Every bad thing that happens to you, or every good thing happens to you, there's another side to it. So if we can find the other side and take advantage of that and endure, which I learned a lot about in the military, and understand that in collaboration specifically, we're not doing this alone. We don't have to do it alone. There are people out there to help you, to support you. I would not be where I am today without the help and collaboration of so many people, whether I knew it or not, whether it was intentional or not, but their efforts helped me to become who I am today. And anything that I've accomplished is not due by myself, but really as a collective effort, really in general. So I love to talk about how we can change the viewpoint, change the way we talk to ourselves and each other. You know, the power of words is huge in my vocabulary, in the way I think about things. Right. So it's really important to me to articulate what it is that we need to collaborate with, hear each other, be there for one another, find that opportunity, whatever adversity we're going through, and then strive to serve each other in a more meaningful way.
Yeah.
I love that. One of the
I love
words
that.
that you said that really resonated with me, Will, was intentional and the intentionality. And I
Yes.
think that's a great jumping off place for us to start this conversation is how do we be intentional in creating productive collaborations with others so that we really make an impact, make a difference in the world. And so I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, I'll pick that up. I think you have to understand your end in mind, right? And you have to go in with authentic sense of purpose with it, right? Like, are you going into this collaboration, into this partnership under the right pretenses, not for self gain, not for selfish reasons, but to, as everybody on this panel said, to make others better, to help
Yeah.
others, build others. So I think that's key, going in with the right state of mind. So.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I've learned that the fastest way, well, two things. The fastest way for me to get out of a slump or a funk or a down moment is to go help somebody else, right? If I start helping somebody else, all of a sudden I'm in a better mood, they're in a better mood, and things start to pick up, and it changes everything for me personally. And then the other thing is the fastest way to achieve the things that you want to achieve in life is to help someone else achieve what they're trying to achieve in life. And I've learned that so many skills I've developed, so many relationships, just pointing out, hey man, you need a hand with something? Can I help you with something? And I tend to end most conversations, if not all, with how may I be of service to you?
Yeah.
Right. And that's the intention is, but you can't really help. You know what? It doesn't, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I push it. No, seriously, how can I be of service to you?
Yeah.
Not, what can you do for me? But when I think
Right.
about it, well, I may need this or help with that. Or I don't understand X, Y, and Z. If I can't help them, I may know someone who can help them,
Yeah.
or we can find out together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Will,
Absolutely.
it's really interesting that you said that, and then Regina bringing up the intentionality of things. And the most important thing that we could really do is have the right mindset so that we enter collaboration with good intentions and that we believe that the other people on the other side have those equal intentions, right? And so if
Right.
our mindset's not right, I mean, we might walk in with lots of ego, and
Yeah.
we may believe that we know more than everyone else. And what is our intention when we collaborate? And that's so important to collaboration and believing that we're going to have a discussion or an opportunity to work together in a way that I'm not worried about one person's power play over the other. So
Yeah.
I think about that when it comes to intentionality.
Love that. Karina?
Yeah, and I would just add to the mindset. I did a lot of after kind of, what Will was saying about adversity and kind of going through my own different struggles was mindfulness, and going through mindfulness-based stress reduction course and really understanding it's really turning in. A lot of us we talked about 20 years, 30 years. We've learned a lot about ourselves over the time, and so it really starts with leaning inward and knowing who you are, and that takes some time. And it's a lot about self-reflection, and kind of going through, understanding who you are, who you're becoming, and setting that intention, before you can even put yourself in places where we can even begin to collaborate. Because if you don't really know who you are and how you respond, and why you're responding in certain ways, it does make it kind of difficult to collaborate.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the starting point for us, is that emotional intelligence, and starting within.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that takes
it's the
go ahead.
irony of things of collaboration means you're working with others, but really your starting point is knowing yourself, right, Karina?
Yeah,
And so it's like,
exactly.
okay, what am I bringing to this interaction? And
Mhm.
that's super ironic when I say I'm going to collaborate, but I really need to focus in and see what this person is
Yeah.
projecting, what strengths or what weaknesses and
Mhm.
what risks are they bringing to the table. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Right.
also want to
If
add to that because with that being said, knowing who you are, a collaboration may not actually work if you may
Mhm.
not have the right mix of people. And that's
Right.
something
Yeah.
to consider as well, because you're like, man, I may be the odd man or woman in this thing. You might have to remove yourself. So nothing is guaranteed. So all valid points, definitely knowing self
Yeah.
first before you enter into that collaboration.
Mhm.
And I think that goes back to what Will was saying too. Will, as you were saying, what can I do for you? How can I serve you?
Mhm.
You have to know internally what you can do for them as well,
Yeah.
right? You've got to
Right.
know those strengths. I think that really rounds that out well. Coming back to what you just said, Curtis, how important is it to assess the values of those that you're looking at working with or collaborating with?
Oh
And
man.
how do you go about
Mm.
doing that?
Well, and this is tough because everybody has value, right? Everybody brings a particular value to a team or to a
Right.
project, something like that. Your role is to unlock that potential, unlock that skill set. It may be something that they may not even know. So again, it goes back, all the way back to what we were saying in the beginning, right? How do you know yourself? Know
Mhm.
yourself as a follower as well as a leader. Are you able to bring those things out of people?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's tough. You may not be able to pull it out, but that's also a lesson within itself, right? So you can't just always think that just because somebody has a capability or whatever, they're the right fit for this collaboration. That's not necessarily
Yeah.
true. So just
Yeah.
has to be the right person with the right mindset, with the right goals. And
Yeah.
yeah, that usually it comes together pretty smooth after that. You still got to lead, you still got to manage, but overall, when you have the right people in the right place, the right things tend to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good things happen.
Yeah.
Satch.
You know, Sa-
Oh, Will,
a
sorry. Go ahead.
question. Satch brought up a good point earlier, right? If you walk into a room, maybe some ego there, like I'm the person who knows the
Mhm.
most about this. I'm going to teach everybody something. I've also learned that you don't get to choose the teacher in life. You only get to choose whether or not you listen to the lesson.
Mm.
Mhm.
Oh,
Can we get
And
some?
I like that. Yeah, I
yeah,
like
and
that.
if you can, because
That's
I've
good stuff.
noticed, literally from homeless people to random people saying things to me, I'm like, wait a minute, that's actually very insightful, right? Had I not taken the time to at least listen to what they say and be part of the conversation and give value to what they say,
Right.
then I may be like, you know what you're talking about. You're just if I prejudge them and put them
Yeah.
into a category, then I'm already defeating my ability to learn from those around me, right? Even if I learn something that I don't want to do, like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's an example I don't want to follow, but thank you for showing me that part of the opportunity there, or that part of humanity, or that part of what could be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you don't get to choose the teacher. You only
Yeah.
get to choose the lesson, whether or not you listen to the lesson.
Whether you're going to take it in or not.
Mhm.
Yep.
You know, when we talked about values though, and when you're entering a collaboration, it's like, what values do we share?
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
And
So
which
important.
values conflict? Where will we find hiccups? And so it's good to have the space that we can kind of communicate that before we get going, because once we know we share some certain values, or we could say, this is the value that this team will have. And so
Mm,
are we going to have this kind of agreement that we will
I'd
stand by
agree
this
ahead of
value?
time. I like
Now,
that.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of is a launching point to your
Yeah.
collaboration, because now we all have a safe space to launch from. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Karina?
Yeah, and I'm a facilitator by trade. This is what I do. I'm taking top facilitation courses as well, and so I'm in spaces where I'm in the community, and we're strategizing. So we have done an assessment. We know what the community needs. We know that healthcare access is essential in certain communities, and there's obviously some barriers and some challenges. We don't get to pick the team. We don't get
Yeah.
to pick those collaborators. This is what we have, and this is what's
Right.
coming to the table. And so, as a facilitator in the room, it's my role to remain that neutral person. It's my
Mhm.
role to help
Yeah.
them establish what those, those values, that the team is going to establish together. Those boundaries, right? Those team
Right.
structure, because they do have to move together. They do have
Yeah.
to collaborate. We don't have a choice. The people, the community needs it. And so, in those situations, it's we focus on what the problem is at task and what strengths does everybody bring to the table. So in each one of their capacities, so they're either resources, the opportunities that we can bring to support those needs, those challenges, and address some of those root causes. And as that facilitator, it's facilitating those conversations and remaining neutral, and ensuring that we can kind of get to that problem, and solve that together.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Yeah, I love that.
I would love to hear some of your greatest successes with collaboration. What was the impact that was made through a good collaboration that you had? Because, we talk about collaboration all the time and we talk about this is how we change the world. But sometimes people need to hear examples of how are we changing the world? What was the impact that you made?
Ooh, careful what you ask for, Regina.
I
Ooh.
know, I know. I can
Oh,
honestly say I've not asked that question to any other group that I've had this conversation with.
all right, y'all. Let's wow her. What you got?
All inspire my questions. So
Who wants to go first?
Hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
Hard.
where do we start, right? Like,
yeah.
which
Where
one
do
do
we
we
start?
choose?
Yeah.
Um, repeat one more time. The question. Give me the question again. Give
Sure,
me the question again.
sure.
Okay.
Tell us about a collaboration that you had that there was a measurable or recognizable impact from that collaboration, that something positive came from it and you're able to see or measure or in some way be able to truly know that you made a positive impact with that collaboration.
Okay. All right. I'll go first if everyone.
All right.
Let's see if we get this on the target here. So I'll go to a military experience. I was a aviator by trade, but in the Marine Corps, every Marine is a rifleman. Therefore, I got the opportunity to to be a small unit team leader on the border of Iraq, with 12-person team, and we were there to train Iraqis on border patrol efforts. My entire team was had never been to combat except for myself and my corpsman, Navy corpsman. They'd never been in Iraq before, never been on a ground team because they were all from the aviation side, aviation mechanics, aviation support, right? So none of them had done combat operations in a
Right.
remote area
Wow.
in a in a trying time. So I was like, well, I'm the leader, right? And they're like, yes, you are the leader. So at
How are we going to
first,
do this?
I thought that I had it to be a very strict. It's my way to doing this. This you guys don't know. I've been into combat before. It's my fourth combat tour. You gotta do it this way. And one day, my lieutenant came to me and said, "Hey, sir, the team thinks it's your way or the highway." I'm like, that's not that. What? Okay, okay, I can see your point. I see your point. And then that's where I decided that I needed to be more collaborative with my team, right? For us to survive 7 months out in a remote area, 2 hours by vehicle from any support, 30 minutes from a medevac, if we don't get it together, someone could lose their life, right? I could lose my life. That's what I'm giving
Exactly.
me, right?
Yeah.
Or I could be responsible for someone else's life, right? So I had to now pivot my perspective on what do you think? Give me your ideas.
Mm.
I used to lead all the convoys. You know what? Every one of us will lead a convoy just in case, right? So now we're learning that I learned that they had so many great ideas that I was just amazed.
And
Um,
Will, we lost your picture.
oh, well, I'll
Yeah.
get back to my picture here.
All right. All
Um,
right. We'd love to see
all
you.
right. All
There
right.
you are.
So, I learned, I learned that technical difficulties, that by collaborating, you allow people to be more expressive. Their contributions can be greater. They built this sand table model that dropped from the ceiling of our command center, laid out the whole area. I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, we just thought it'd be a good idea." And so it showed me that at the end of our tour, they all got awards, like very senior awards. we have requests from special operations to work with us on the border. Um, the general of that area had heard of their accomplishments. I'm saying more there than mine. Their accomplishments as a team. We were known throughout the Western Iraq for our operations, our professionalism, a lot of different things, right? And that
Wow.
was attributed to their ability to collaborate with each other, with understanding of their operational area, our teammates who are Iraqis, our translators, special ops, and we got meritorious promotions. There's a lot of positive things happened, and I am still good friends with the majority of those guys on the team. Two of them no, but the rest of them, yes. Um, and it showed me that it can't always be my way or the highway, right? And
Right.
it has to be a joint effort, right? So,
Right.
man, I'm having technical difficulties here, aren't I?
We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. While you work on that, um,
I'll pass it on.
yeah,
Okay.
you made me
She,
think of oftentimes in coaching, you might hear a coach say, what are you leaving on the table? What kind of money are you leaving on the table by not doing X in your business? So what are you leaving on the table by not collaborating with your team or with others? You're totally shutting out all of their experiences, all of their knowledge,
Mm.
yep,
skill sets, everything when we do the my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And that's
right,
usually driven by ego, right?
Yeah,
It
for
right.
is.
sure.
It is. I
Right.
have to share with you a quick story. I haven't told the story in a long time. My husband, when he was a young man, and he worked for an oil company, and he was a my way or the highway kind of guy on the job. And some folks had come to me about it, and his best friend worked with him, and my stepfather also had heard about this situation. I don't know how he got it. All in the same week, without any of us knowing that we were doing it, we each sat down with him. Myself, his best friend, his father-in-law, sat down with him and talked to him about this my way or the highway attitude
The intervention, huh?
intervention. But it made him stop and think. And he was willing to take the risks to change.
Mm,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
good. And
Yeah.
What
that
are we
takes a lot.
leaving on the table?
Yeah.
What
I
are
Wow.
we
yeah,
leaving on the
A
table?
lot.
Regina,
Yeah.
is it that, you remind me of something, you kind of saying that, and I'm part of and just talking about collaborations and successful ones, and thinking about something recently, and something that's kind of unique. What we do is, I partner with me and a couple other just independent women, consulting companies and coaching companies will partner and collaborate on different, you know, RFPs, different proposals and things like that
Right.
for different companies, and come together, and which could be challenging, right? You're going after some, big, consulting contracts with a lot of money, and obviously there's different deliverables, and there's different skill sets, and there's different people who
Yeah.
can, get involved in different ways, and so we had a recent one, and obviously different time frames. People are, have multiple different projects going on in their own business, and recently had one with, four different different consultants on their different businesses, and for big project, and we came together, even though with our competing timelines, and very short, deadline, as well as kind of losing our budget, with all
Oh,
of the government shutdowns
yeah.
in the middle of it, and having to kind of quickly pick up within the middle, and just kind of transition and change. And I think one of the good things to learn was that, I think when you find something that you believe in, then y'all have that purpose, and y'all center around something core. It was a mission that we were driven to, the
Right.
purpose of serving the leaders, and the
Hmm.
public health, and training them on a specific, skill set, and helping to support them. That when we all believed in that, and we could center around that one mission,
Mhm.
that anything was possible, that you could set aside a lot of those, you know, competing, egos or anything, and it went very, very smoothly. And actually was
Yeah.
probably one of the smoothest collaborations I've ever had. And like I said, competing consulting companies, and
Yeah.
you would think, but co-creating to
Mhm.
support a purpose bigger
Love it.
than yourselves.
I love that.
At the heart of collaboration is, what is it that I can learn from you? I mean,
Yeah.
the real purpose of
That's great.
collaborating is because there's probably a gap in your talent,
Yeah.
skill, understanding. And so if you don't come with that at the heart of things, then you end up with this myopic outcome, right? This is what I know. So you
Yeah.
lose opportunities. Curtis was saying, what happens when you don't collaborate? Everything happens. I mean, or nothing happens.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love this discussion, because sometimes we don't think about entering collaboration with, what can I learn from Karina today,
Yeah.
right? And what can
Absolutely.
I give to it, and that she would learn from me? I mean, that's at the heart of collaboration.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Curtis,
Yeah.
I can see those thoughts spinning in your head.
I'm thinking of which way I want to go, because collaboration. I mean, man, I don't. A lot of my stuff is going to be tied to the military, so I don't, will by no means.
That's
I'm not
all
trying to
right.
steal your thunder or anything, but
No, thunder on, man. Thunder on.
Thunder.
Thunder on. There you go. I love
I
that.
had the opportunity to serve 3 rounds, 3 different tours of convoy operations in Iraq during the height of the buildup and as well as the drawdown of all the bases. And my last round, I was a convoy commander. I was tasked to be a convoy commander over 15 different airmen, NCOs, non-commissioned officers, junior ranking airmen. And yeah, the mission was we could be out for a week, up to 2 weeks, just running the roads up and down Iraq, going to different bases and all these things. Well, for 7 to 9 months, that tends to be a lot, right? Life still happens with a bunch of different people. It doesn't stop just because you're in the desert and
Yeah.
running these missions. And so you still need every one of these key pieces. You need your comm, you need your wrecker, your wrecker team in case there's an IED goes off. How are we going to get the vehicle out of there? You got your med group, you have your lead convoy vehicle, you have, I mean, so many different elements. On top of that, you're also partnering with the Army as they run your gun trucks. So as convoy commander, I had to oversee all those different
Oh,
facets
wow.
during
Yeah.
on the road. And so, we have our briefings and everybody has their role. But as my role as convoy commander is that everybody has their light. They have their platform to do their thing. And, I may not fully understand completely down to the T what they do, but that's not important. The important thing is that I take care of them so they can do their job and know all the things they're supposed to be doing. And part of that is keeping up morale, right? We would get to a different base, be on the road for 12 hours every time or more. Every time. Okay, once we bed down or unpack, family dinner. We all get together, decompress, and just talk, right? That builds trust,
Nice.
that builds camaraderie, all those different things. You get to know each other outside of the uniform. Who is
Yeah.
Sergeant Kelley Curtis outside of the uniform, right? And that I treat that, that was during those missions, even outside, to where, today, like Will said, you're still close to some of these. I just got named Godfather to one of my driver, right? And this
Yeah,
was
nice.
years ago, like what, 15 years ago.
Mhm.
Now I'm godfather to one of his children. So you build those things, those collaborations. And the proudest thing I am to say, out of all of everything I just said, our last mission, one of the trucks got hit, but we didn't lose anybody, and I was able to make sure that everybody was able to come home safely. So
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
You made me
Very good
think.
story.
Say that again, Satch.
No,
Say it again.
mhm.
Well, you just made me think of when you had those meetings. We'll call them campfires.
literally by a burning,
Literally,
yeah, literally.
exactly. When you had the campfires,
Mhm.
that had to have strengthened your ability to collaborate as you learned more about each person through that
Absolutely.
downtime almost, that you
Mhm.
were able to learn about each other so that you could collaborate more effectively. You now knew more of their strengths, what drove them, their
Mhm.
skill sets, and
Absolutely.
you could more effectively collaborate.
one of my favorite movies of all time, and my wife knows this, and I've done some Maxwell lessons off this. Ocean's 11. That is
Oh
probably
yeah.
the
Ooh,
Oh
greatest
yeah.
movie that
Love
you can
that.
look at
nice.
for collaboration. You got your Pinch Man, your Grease, your Ella Fitzgerald as Danny
Yeah.
Money. Everybody has a role in
Yes.
Yeah.
accomplishing the mission, whether you're robbing a Vegas bank or not,
Yeah.
or a
Or
hotel or not.
whatever.
You know, you get the point, right? So, but I love that movie just to watch how they put all these pieces together to achieve, you know, a goal, legal or
Yeah.
not. So,
Yeah.
So, Curtis,
Yeah.
weren't you stationed in Las
oh yeah,
Vegas?
when Ocean's 11, the not the original with Sinatra, but the remake came out, I was living in Vegas and I
Oh
was looking
wow.
like, I wonder if this is possible. Like, no, no way.
Were you able to get on set at all, or
No.
no?
And you know, they talk about a vault in the bottom. Like you walk through the Bellagio and you're looking around, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to even get out of this casino, much
That's
less.
right. That's right.
So,
Oh my goodness. Folks, this has been a great conversation. We could go on and on. Unfortunately, we are coming up on the top of the hour, so we probably don't have time to dive into another question. But I have thoroughly enjoyed learning from each of you, and I know that our audience has as well. But we're going to start our wrap up round now. So, Curtis, I'm going to ask you to run that. If you would call on each person, including yourself,
oh,
to share final thoughts on collaboration and your contact information. And while you're doing that, I'll put everybody's contact information out
all
for,
right.
for our audience
Ladies
to see.
first again. I am going to go ahead and toss it to Karina. So, final thoughts for you know, the CEO Holy Grail family and Regina. What you got for them?
Oh, yeah. Final thoughts. Just one, take care of yourself and look out for others. I think I put in some of my contact information, which was from LinkedIn. I am working on doing better on social media. I heard something at a TED Talk, and it was from a 18-year-old, and she said, every company needs a kid, and every company needs somebody smart enough to hire one because
Yeah.
they're so smart with tech
Like,
and social media. So my 12-year-old is helping me with the
Awesome. Awesome. I love it.
so there's a lesson.
she's sharp. She's very sharp. All right. Thank you for that, Karina. And then again, Karina's LinkedIn information is up there in the chat. Regina's posting that. Satch, what you got for him? Lay some gems on him.
Yeah, you know, when we talk about collaboration, we have to first, like Karina said, let's start with us and with the mindset that I don't know everything. I mean, the point in having other people in your circle is so that you can gain some knowledge from them. And then that you also build some psychological safety where people, their defenses are lowered, and now they can disagree, they can admit when they're wrong. When that safety is created in that environment, you create a group of people that can just solve just any problem. And then when your egos are at play, you have to acknowledge that we all have some various levels of ego. And through my study, I've learned that ego is the protection of your identity. And so how do I enter this conversation without having to protect my identity and be able to contribute to, you know, a solution with my whole self? And I think that that's very important. So the leader of a group that's creating a collaborative environment, they have to think about, how do I create a safe space so people don't have to protect themselves, and that they can offer to the group something that is meaningful, and that I don't have to learn, I don't have to know everything. I can go in just learning a lot. And so I'm glad to have this discussion on this, and I'm glad to meet all of you all, and maybe that we can collaborate at some point.
There it
Be
is.
awesome.
I left my email, and I just wrote 2 books, and I put them out all at the same time. And so one is called The
Congratulations.
Psychology of the Workplace Environment, and the other is Integrated Leadership. And so take a look. They're on Amazon, they're at Target,
Love it.
and see what those can offer you through your reading and learning. Thank you again for allowing me to be here, Curtis.
All right. Thanks for showing up and supporting. And can I get a signed copy of each of those? Of course, I'll pay.
Absolutely. Too
Yeah.
easy. Too easy.
No, thank you, Satch. All right, Mumbles, what you got for him?
Okay, so first, find opportunity in adversity,
Yeah.
right? And one of the ways you can do that is move through the continuum that Karina talked about, from isolation, working in silos, to cooperation, working with people, to collaboration, to to work together for a common purpose. And in some cases, even moving to integration, where what you do vitally contribute to what the next person does, and so on down the continuum, right? So moving from isolation to cooperation to collaboration is important for us to finding those opportunities in adversity, reaching out to others, understanding where we can think of what is happening for me at this moment. What lessons can I learn, and where can I find ways to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive?
Yeah.
We left my email information in there. Satch, I'm gonna get your books and we can talk about book writing later.
Mhm.
But I also wanted to let you know, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And now that you have a will, you have a way.
Oh,
Let's go.
I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I love it.
You're
I
gonna have
love
to
it.
redo that one.
I love it.
No, that's good stuff. Good stuff. So,
And so, Curtis, your final thoughts.
all right, final thoughts from me. I got a
Oh,
couple.
and I don't have your info to post out here, so I'll have to
Oh,
ask you to do that. Okay.
I will. I will. I
Yeah.
did put it on there. All right, my bad. I'll put it up there. So yeah, for me, it's three things, right? One of them is stay uncomfortable, right? When you get too comfortable, you get complacent, right?
Mm.
Always challenge yourself, and think outside the box. Think of what's possible. Also, have fun in anything and everything I do. I always want to have fun and enjoy it, whether it be a collaboration, whether it be a project, getting to know people, like, we do the dinner nights, and you just get to know people on a different level.
Yeah.
Have fun. And then also I swear by, and it's applied, and it's actually, served me well. You take care of your people are going to take care of you.
No
I,
doubt.
Every time.
I lean back to that during my convoy days. Again, I didn't know every single facet of their operation, but I took care of them in order for them to take care of the mission to get us all home safe. So all those things, that's my my parting words. And I thank all of you, Will, Satch, Karina, and thank you, Regina, for having us all on here. It's a military gathering, so when you get a bunch of military folks together, stuff
It's
like
a
that,
party.
it's a
Yeah.
party.
Party.
Tech problem will, but that's okay. We'll be all right.
So,
They didn't work in IT.
for your listeners and viewers out there, I'm sorry my stuff I put in there, but you can catch us at theculturemarauders@gmail.com, and then just look up Curtis Kelley, Kelley, on LinkedIn, and you'll find this big old hair and all that stuff. You'll find all that on there ready to serve. So thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Again, it
Regina.
has been a joy to have all of you here today. I truly have appreciated it. And I love what you've all been doing. Keep doing it. Keep making that difference that you're making, because you truly are making a difference in the world.
Thank you.
And we each can do that. It is not impossible for any of us. We can each make a difference. But
Yeah.
we need to be intentional about it, right, Will?
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. We need to be intentional about it and not just expect that it's going to happen. We have to make it happen. We definitely can do that. So again, thank you all, and I want to thank all of our listeners, and we'll see you next time on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.